Hello and welcome everyone to our Friday, July 15th edition of the Contributor Comms group meeting. As usual, a reminder that we do have a code of conduct, which basically says to be excellent to your fellow attendees and speakers. So we'll go ahead and get started. Like I mentioned before I started recording, I went ahead and created a notes section for us for today. The way this usually works for anyone who's new is we will ask for any updates or big wins and any new items and discuss those first. And then we'll go through the table that is at the top of our document, which lists all of our current action items, which is like 3 pages long. All right. And before we get into our regularly scheduled programming, one thing we like to do at the beginning of these meetings is invite anyone who's new to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about why you're here. Totally optional, but if you would like to speak up now, please do.
It's my first time. Hey, Caslin.
Hello.
Hey.
I was multitasking and dropping out of another meeting coming in. I haven't had a chance to come in and join y'all, so I really just wanted to come in and soak up all the cool things you guys are working on, and then get current. You know me probably from like SIG release or some of the other areas where I try to like step in at, and I just thought I would come over and just slowly get caught up and see how I can maybe support. So pretty basic. That's about it.
Awesome.
Yay.
Welcome.
Wonderful to have you. Anyone else? All right. And feel free to jump in anytime. We are a pretty informal group here. So if you want to say anything or introduce yourself or whatever, have at it at any time. We'll start off with updates, big wins. Does anyone have any of those that they would like to share with us? I suppose I can start with one thing, which is that I actually got a few tweets out in the last week. Federico, you've been doing a great job at putting in PRs for content about the annual report. So I've been trying to get those out. I meant to get the ones out last week, and then I see that you added more this week. So anyway, I'm happy that we're making progress on those.
Thank you. It's great.
Yay. Report underway. Cool. Any other updates, big wins? And any new items that folks have noticed? I haven't noticed anything in particular in the Slack, aside from those new tweets that you submitted, Federico, but we'll discuss that.
Yeah.
Anything else? Cool. Doesn't sound like it. If there are, of course, we can always come back to it. So let's go ahead and hop into our table, I suppose.
I feel like there should be Batman music, like da-na-na-na-na.
That would be awesome. I need sound effects. Can we create a role for that?
Should ask my boss if I should get a stream deck.
Oh yeah. That's a thing you could do with that, huh? Sounds complicated.
Yeah, OBS is involved. It's always complicated. Anyways.
Always complicated and turns your computer into a rocket ship.
Not so bad. Anyways.
Also, before I hop into the table, I was going to ask, nothing in particular from you, Chris? It's good to see you.
No, it's good to see y'all. Just for everybody who hasn't met me before, I'm Chris Short. I work at AWS. I've been in SIG ContribEx since heck was a puck, and I'm an advisor to this group. So I show up occasionally and advise, but I mainly multitask during this meeting most of the time.
Sounds good. So our first item in our table, that's good to move on to, yeah, is Hina, and Hina's not here at the moment. We discussed this a bit last week, though. She needed some help because she Wasn't sure how to set up the notification or alert to our team in GitHub when an issue is filed for marketing. I suggested that she try asking in the SIG ContribEx channel, but I don't remember seeing that. It's possible I
There
missed
is a
it.
Slack management channel too, isn't there?
Actually, she asked Bob about it.
Oh,
When
okay.
they had a discussion in the thread of
Okay,
SIG
cool.
ContribEx.
Oh, lovely. So she did and was talking to Bob about it.
Yeah, there is a Slack-admins channel. If
Well,
you
this is
have-
the GitHub thing though, where we set
Yeah,
up our GitHub team and we were going to update the issue to alert our GitHub team when a new issue comes in.
nice.
So
Cool.
I don't think any Slack is involved with that unless we want it to be, I guess. I don't know. Unless we want to
mean,
make our lives more complicated. Talked to Bob about it. Okay. There's a thread. I'll have to go back and check on that. Cool. Thank you so much for keeping an eye on that. I missed it. So we'll move on from that. Contributor tip tweet. This is kind of on the back burner for now. We discussed last week that Chris was cool with us working on his blog post and getting it transitioned over to the dev site. But I don't, Frederico, I think we decided not to actively work on this just yet, right?
Yes, that's what I recall from the last meeting. Just live it.
This is why I take copious
Yeah.
notes and why this table is so long, because I can't remember anything. Yeah, sounds good though. We have that and we can come back to it if we have some time.
And let me know when you do it, because I can just switch everything to point over there and done.
Right.
You get all the SEO magic.
Sounds good. And our next item is the two items in this table that are both about buffer. So there are two issues that we're trying to solve by adopting a new tool. One of them is something that we've been trying to do for a long time, which is auto-generating blog tweets. We're hoping that Buffer will give us tools to do that. And also our current tooling in GitHub doesn't allow us to schedule tweets, which is pretty frustrating. So we have the request in to CNCF. Last I heard, we were still waiting on approval or someone to actually like manage that account for us from the CNCF side, take care of that billing and everything. I haven't gotten any new updates on that. Has anyone else heard anything?
There's a service desk ticket open, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
It's moving. These
But
things are
slowly.
slow.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
Yeah, I know. I don't like it, but it is the way it is. I guess you're right.
Yeah. I'm hoping we'll get it in the next like month and a half, maybe, so that we can get to know it and get started with it before KubeCon.
Really? Yeah, no kidding.
That's what we need it for. Most of all. All right, so we'll move on past that. I have a note to myself to check in on that, which I should do more often. Next item, role descriptions. So last time we discussed a role description that I created. I don't think I've seen any feedback on that, though it's possible I missed something. So I had submitted well, I've got 3 thumbs up, so that's pretty good. I had submitted a social media role to our role handbook in our GitHub repo like years ago. And I totally flubbed that PR, just GitHub issues. And so it never really happened. And then we decided to switch to this council thing where we got rid of roles. And then we had people where we actually needed roles again. So for several months, we've been discussing this need to set up roles and shadows in our group. So I went ahead and grabbed that old social media role and kind of revived it in a HackMD for any feedback. And since that's been open for like a week or so and I haven't gotten any additional feedback, I think I'll go ahead and create a PR for that, which I will put on my physical to-do list now. And Avinash, I think you were also going to work on one. Any progress?
Yep. I was not able to complete it, but by next week, I'm sure I'm gonna do that.
Sounds good. You know where to find me if you need any help. Granted, I'm often asynchronous. And I'll share that link actually with everyone in the chat. I think this link works, right? Haven't used HackMD in a bit. But there you go. You can take a look at, oh, there is one comment. Nice. Space between channel and would be good. Ah, good catch. Thank you, Imran. Yeah. So if anyone wants to take a look at that, they are welcome. We have some other things more desperate need of review, which I've been thinking about all week, and we will get to that. What is next, though? Anyone else working on roles currently? I don't think so, right? Sounds good. And these two have kind of been combined into one. I need to make a note to myself to actually combine them in the table. So the role description item of the table, and then the one after it is also about roles. So I should combine those. Make a note to do that after the meeting. Yeah, I need to discuss the program manager concept with Hina, and also Atarva had an approver concept, which I think has some overlap with the social media role, but I think it also actually might go beyond that. So I need to talk with him about what he was thinking there.
Like contributor comms wide kind of thing.
Yeah. Which needs
we need
to
more
be
than just me and
role.
you and a couple other people.
Yeah, because definitely lacking right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my reminders have not been working this week, so it's been a joy.
Just, I feel like I'm still trying to get those set up. I feel like I'm at a pretty good spot now, but could always use improvement. But yeah, so that's a big part of like why we're trying to set up these roles, is to fix who can approve things on our repos and who has ownership and things like that. It's needed work for a while. So we'll move on from that unless anyone wants to discuss roles further, and we can always come back to it. So the next item is updating the GitHub repo to the contributor comms name. This has been sitting there for like 2 months. I feel terrible about it.
Do I need to just go do it?
Yeah, if you could. But if you don't have time, don't worry about it either. I will eventually get to it, but I won't get to it next week.
Same, right? Like if I take it on, it'll be 2 weeks from now.
Exactly.
And I feel like it's too far out for me to be concrete about,
Exactly. Yeah, I keep having issues with that. I feel like every other week I've had like an event or something going on, so it's really been disruptive. Busy summer
that week.
Don't like that people are going back to in-person events. It's too much work.
I mean, I could do it that week for sure. If you want to tag team it, that would be even better. If you want to set up some time.
Yeah, maybe that's just what I need, is the push to actually discuss it in person, and then that tends to get me moving.
Okay.
So we could set up a bit of time. We could even do it after this.
Yeah, we'll side chat after this.
Cool. Thank you.
No problem.
Sometimes it's hard to get things done. And then the next item is also one of those items that I feel terrible about. We have several SIG spotlights in the works, at least 2, I think, that are ready for review. The SIG storage one by Federico is definitely ready for review. And then Federico, you've got one that's stalled and another one that you're working on.
They are, well, things changed last week, fortunately. So the SIG architecture one is in progress. I've got feedback from John Belameric, I think. And of course, now it's actually doing the interview, etc. But it's we have positive feedback, so it's in the new stage. And also, in the meantime, while I was waiting for feedback from architecture, I opened up the thread with SIG security as well, which also replied, asking for some examples, and I provided those examples. So I'm waiting for some additional feedback there as well. But they are both advancing and I would expect that in next couple of weeks, one or the other will have a output. Then I will then put in HackMD and we'll be sitting there for quite a while.
Hopefully we will do a little bit better with these next time. It's been a while since we've had blog posts for the SIG Spotlight series to review. So,
and there's been so many other blog posts to review. It's hard to find balance.
I get it. And now, and moving forward, we also have the feature blogs that are going to appear with the 125. So I completely get it. Even the amount is one of the reasons why it's not trivial to get the attention of people to actually do the spotlights at the moment. Yeah,
absolutely true. Yeah, and we really appreciate your work on this, and I am in awe of your velocity.
Yes. And Federico, if we need to create a role that's just blog writer role, like
that's true.
That could be a thing, right? Like blog editor, blog proofreader, whatever,
I think that's the closest I will ever be to be an influencer, I suppose. So I might as well have a try at it.
I mean, if you think about it and you're like, this process, and it could be documented and we could implement
You're absolutely right. Yes. I never saw that. Honestly,
I would love to sit down with you and whiteboard it.
That
and
makes absolute sense.
Yeah.
Yes. That's a great idea. And it ties the experience that I've been having with the roles that we want to design. So that's a good idea. Yeah.
Ownership. Need to help people have ownership. Also another note on that before I ask Perniswar about his is we were also talking about SIG Docs is working on a new blog process where they're trying to make it a little lighter weight. They're like trying to make the whole markdown before you do a PR thing more official, I think.
Good. Yeah.
Yes,
I think
I posted it on SIG Docs on the advice of Tim, and I also got comments from Natalie. I'm doubtful about one thing, like when I'm supposed to open a PR. Like I guess the HackMD has been reviewed by 2 to 3 people now. And
which one?
I guess so. By Tim, I guess Tim did the first review and Natalie went through it. As she left comments, I guess she had went through it, and I hope someone else might have looked upon it. But if anyone in this group is open to a review, they can. Maybe Krish, you can, if you want to, or if you have time.
And which PR is this? Or
HackMD? The SIG Doc Spotlight HackMD. I haven't linked it.
Oh, okay. Yes, right. Perfect.
And I guess, the question is, where do I need to +1 it once I'm done?
Should I just update in the
You could probably do a comment on the HackMD.
Okay, cool.
I linked the HackMD in the table.
Oh, wonderful.
What a wondrous idea. There we go.
We don't have the SIG storage one in here either. I know we have it in the Slack. Should probably put it in these notes. That was so long ago. Message. Sorry, I'm grabbing the link to your SIG storage draft, Frederico.
All right.
There we go. There it is. Did you have a comment?
No.
Oh, cool. Well, I put the HackMD for the SIG storage one into the notes as well. So the 2 that we immediately need review on are Perniswar's SIG Docs, SIG Spotlight, and Frederico's SIG Storage, SIG Spotlight. Is that correct?
I think so, yes. Excellent.
All right.
And I wanted to know when I should go for a PR.
Tomorrow's Saturday for you. Let's do do it on like Monday or whenever you feel like would be a good next time to put that in, because I know you're going into your evening, your night.
So like I wanted to know, like, is there any certain amount of reviewers that needs the reviewed the PR, the HackMD itself after before I start the PR process?
There's never been an official like number or anything like that. It's just kind of a make the HackMD, get at least 1 or 2 reviews on it, go ahead with the PR. It sounds like you're already in good shape with 2 reviews. So 1 more is just kind of icing.
Yeah. So I'll start the process on Monday itself. Maybe that sounds good.
Sounds good to me. 2 reviews already. We'll PR on Monday. And if we can get Federico to the same point, we'll be in good shape. All righty. I'm going to move on to the next item in our table. We have this Katacoda review thing still on here, just as a reminder to check in on the Katacoda situation. Not that we're doing anything with it, but it's just really interesting.
So the Katacoda is basically stuck. I need a few people to work on Killer Coda because I don't have the bandwidth at the moment to start the whole Killer Coda thing myself. So yeah, if anyone is interested, I could help you. There's a migration guide from Katacoda to Killer Coda, and if anyone is interested, I put a issue on the contributor Katacoda GitHub itself. So yeah, you could reply on that, and we could align and work on that.
Drop that issue in the chat log. Looks like Avanesh is up for it.
Yeah, I
Or
let me
it's in the
grab the
notes.
link.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you grab the GitHub for the Katacoda, where you said you have the instructions, we can put that in the notes. Deba and Avinash. And I guess I'll actually delete the Hashida review line of the table, and we'll just replace it with this new one.
We could delete that because I have already merged that PR long ago.
Yeah. We just kind of kept it as a reminder to check in on this since it's such a thing. And for background, for anyone who's not familiar, Katacoda was a training platform where we had some tutorials and stuff. And then they suddenly decided to not have that platform anymore. So they said that they would support the Kubernetes project by keeping a server up with our training. But we've been kind of trying to decide what we want to do about it because Katacoda as a training platform is not like a thing anymore. So it sounds like we've decided to move to this Killer Coda platform instead. So that's what we're asking for help with. That a good summary?
Yeah, perfect. So I put it the link in the chat if anyone wants to see the issue on the contributor Katacoda side. And yeah.
Should we add some labels to this?
So I don't know because the visibility of this repo wasn't also very much. So I just, it's like open for help, but I'll seek some help from like, maybe I'll post it in the Slack, ContribEx Slack. And if I see someone interested, then yeah.
I'm just going to at least label it as contributor comms and help wanted. Because that's the state it's in, right? Like, let's use.
I think this contributor comms help wanted, is it present in Kubernetes SIG's org? I'm not sure. That's what
I think so. We're about to find out.
Yeah.
Contributor comms help one.
Does contribute. We have one. We had one, or there is one.
Just the tag on the GitHub issues? Is that what you mean?
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's not supported.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, it's
GitHub.
No labels. Yep. No labels here.
Yes, this is just another org. So yeah.
I see. Okay.
Thanks for even mentioning me. Like, call my ass out. That's awesome.
GitHub. Just GitHub. Alrighty. anyone else wants to help out with the Coda Killer Coda migration, you can ask Deba in our ContribEx comms channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently. Or it's just 8 a.m. and I can't talk, which is normal, as everyone who comes here regularly knows.
Caslin, it's 11:30. I still can't talk.
I'll take it.
It's been a long week.
Oh
just
boy,
leave
it
it at
has. Ooh, buddy. Totally different reasons, but anyway. So we'll move on to the next item. Oh, that's Hina. Hello, Hina. If you had any, I think we were good. We heard that you put a thread in SIG ContribEx channel about the help that you needed for the notifications in GitHub. If you want to add anything to that.
I was waiting to run this by you all. I was going to mention us in the about, so I'm going to throw that link in the form. So my assumption of the easiest way would be get support from the @contributor comms team or the team that we created on sending a message. And so I think if I do that, that will trigger a mention. If I need buy-in to go ahead and do that.
Wait, what?
Be like a tennis shoe and just do it.
So like in the description for the about, it says get support on sending message to our community through coordinated outreach on email. That's where I was thinking to put the mention of the team.
Oh. Oh, okay. Yeah.
And that should trigger a notification.
Cool.
Oh, okay. Ah, Trixie. I like it. If it works, it works.
It reminds me the other day with the commit on the Epic game store GitHub. You don't hear? Have you heard about it?
No,
it was an
happened?
ad like No, well, I won't waste your time, but it was like a commit with an ad, but it went to like several hundreds of people. The entire Epic developer community received the mention. So some care is indeed warranted with this kind of automation.
Yes. Yeah, no, that team isn't that large, thankfully, but good to point out that you could accidentally trigger a message to a larger audience.
So I'm gonna try it. And
yeah, I would do it, and I can take the fall if something goes wrong.
I don't mind taking the fall. I just want to.
You're emeritus, Chris. You don't take falls anymore.
Like I don't mind it. I just want
to. Short said, "Just do it," and people will be like, "Oh, never mind."
I mean, that's true, but that's more of a reputation issue.
There you go. So I'll go ahead and try that. I will basically mention the team and say, get support from @contributor comms team on sending message, blah, blah, blah.
Technically, when they create their issue, they could remove that from the template, right? So then it wouldn't ping us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not perfect.
Okay.
But we can start there.
Okay.
Go ahead and do it, and we'll see how it goes. And if we can try to figure something else out while we have at least that partial fix in.
Maybe I could put it in no, it wouldn't be in the name. Labels. I don't know if you can mention a team in the labels. Let me start with the about.
It depends on the repo, but we have a label.
We do. That's true. Can we force it to add that label? And can we make that label ping us?
We can force it to add the label in the template.
But can we make that label ping us?
I don't know about that part.
That part seems dubious.
Okay, let me try the first part, which was the about section. I don't know if it's successful, but if it's not successful, one, maybe everyone gets a ping, and that's just humor for a future life where I'm like, oh, remember when I was in my 30s and I tried this and it happened. And then or we can just tweak it because there might be something. So I'll try. And then we'll find out if it's a piece of humor or if it's a piece of, I did it okay.
Awesomeness. Yeah, good call.
Sounds good. We make progress.
Yes.
All we can ask.
There we go.
Things happen slowly over time. We have such a long to-do list. Not surprising. GitHub discussion on the Epic Games. Oh, you sent a news article thing. Oh, send a notification to 400,000 users.
Yeah.
Woo.
That would suck.
We're not the only ones with problems. All right. We'll move on from that back to the bottom of our table almost, which is annual report stuff. We already discussed this. Frederica, you've been doing great work getting tweets into our repo for that. I've been sending them out very spaced out. I did say I wanted to space them out so that they get more attention. So this is a bit more spaced out than I had intended. Yeah.
But I'm going to submit a couple of more, perhaps, but also spaced out. It's like 2 or 3 per week, and that's
sounds
I think
good.
it's enough. Yeah.
I know you have one more left from the first batch, which has the GitHub link in it instead of the link that Paris asked us to use. But also our process for updating the tweets is broken still, right?
I was going, because I've already corrected the ones that were not issued, right? That were not merged. I corrected them at the source. I did a validate, but that doesn't really.
Not working.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say that perhaps, I don't know if you if you can change the actual link when you commit, when you review, maybe. I don't know. I know that I can't. So
I don't think I can. I'll check though.
But maybe it's more trouble than it's worth, because you can simply close it and I'll open a new one.
That's true. We could do that. That might be the easiest thing, if you don't mind.
No, not at all. Just that note that I've added. One of the advantages of the GitHub link is that it actually allowed you to link to sections, whereas in the CNCF one, you just you can't. So it's the it's all or nothing. And one of the comments that the comments that I had in one of the PRs was that it was better to link to sections. So
I see. Okay. Well, I'm fine with letting that one go, as we already had that PR. And if it links to the specific section, I think that's a good enough reason to just do that. And then we can use the other link for the rest.
For the rest, that's my strategy. Perfect. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then I also added a new item in the table on the validate command being broken, because I don't know how to fix that. I think someone here had some experience with that.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Anyone else? Reminder, there are all sorts of links in our table item there on the annual report. If you want to help out with doing annual report tweets, there's a doc where you can find out which ones need to be done for the help wanted. And you're welcome to skim the report and make suggestions for what you would like to see tweeted about it. Our Twitter GitHub situation is such that contributors can submit tweets to be tweeted, and you're welcome to do that. All right, I'll move on from that. I don't remember who it was who had experience with the validate issue, but let me know if you want.
Search the notes.
If you know that. Yeah, it's probably somewhere. I'll deal with that later. I probably won't. I should make a note. I'll move on to the next thing though. There was an APAC Meet Our Contributors blog. I think that went out, didn't it, Deba? It's also kind of a recurring thing. Is Deba still here? Deba left, didn't he? Deba.
Okay, then I'll update. So the previously it was like 11, but in the issue, I see that now it's shifted to 18th, which is the coming
Oh,
Monday.
okay. All right, then. Makes sense why I thought it was already out, but it is not yet. Yeah, maybe. Does seem like an Atarva and Rajula kind of thing, the validate thing. Anything else on that APAC Meet Our Contributors blog or any others that are in the pipeline for that group? Do you know anything, Avnish?
So we are updating the responses from South Korea region.
Oh, nice. Okay, so there's another one. Next blog in progress for South Korea region. And the current one that will hopefully be posted on Monday, I guess, is China region, right?
Yep.
Lovely. Awesome. Deba and Avinash know what's up. Congratulations. Yet another item in our table for you. Alrighty. So unless you have anything else on that, we'll move on. There was an issue on the KDev site that Pratish wanted to work on. I was looking for help on understanding where to find code for the KDev site. I can't remember exactly what this was about. The scheduling was broken on the KDev site or something. Yeah. So Pratish isn't here, so I guess we'll go on ahead past that one unless anyone wants to talk about it.
It was brought up in the ContribEx meeting that,
Oh, nice.
yeah, I was there. And as far as I could understand, Bob told that there is something with Golang and Hugo, it needs to be combined and something needs to be made. I don't really understand what he meant by that, but something on that lines, yeah.
I think that was Pratish's situation as well. And he was trying to find more information on what code needed to be fixed.
Yes.
And how to get
yes.
to know it.
Most of the coding and technical work, so yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I don't know anything about that.
As far as I search through the nodes, the validate command comes under the expertise of Rajula, I guess.
Yeah, definitely a Rajula thing, but he often isn't in. I'll put him as the person on that though. I don't know if we've talked to him about that. I'll ping him about it now for good measure.
I guess it does all the GitHub things like scheduling and the tweets thing and even the validate thing. I guess someone needs to come up on that level since Rajula can't make it in most of the meetings.
Yeah,
and
Rajula
tweeting is a
needs...
big factor for us.
Yeah, Rajula's
Yes.
expertise is much needed and often unavailable. So we definitely need to get him shadowing some folks and sharing his
Yes.
knowledge. I know we've discussed that before. I'll ping him about that as well, since I'm pinging him about the validate.
Yeah. I feel like maybe if you approach Rajula and say like, hey, is there something I can take off your plate so I could put this on your plate? It might be helpful. I don't know what he's doing in the community right now, though.
I think he just hasn't had much time for the community in general.
Oh, well, that's...
I think he's
a
just been
problem.
doing work stuff. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I feel that.
So I'll check in with him though. I sent pings just now. Of course, he's in Europe and I'm on the West Coast. So we tend to be asynchronous.
It's afternoon there. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't expect anything. Well, you can expect things by next meeting, certainly. Usually good enough for that. All right. So I'm checking in on that. The KDev site stuff. You knew some stuff about the KDev site, Chris. You have any
I know
advice?
a lot about the KDev site. What's
That's what I thought.
up?
So there's this issue that we were just discussing. I'll put it in the chat. There's an issue with like scheduling posts to go out on the KDev site. Something about Hugo or something needs to be fixed. I don't know anything about it.
Huh.
But Pratish wanted to work on it.
Okay.
So if you have any advice on where he should look to try to help with this issue, he would appreciate that. And if anyone else wants to.
Articles publishing too early.
Uh-huh.
That's weird.
Yep.
I don't know how they're published now, to be honest with you, but
Right?
let me go spelunking. I mean, there's a GitHub workflow and a Netlify periodic build that's building at 3:30 every day. So I'm going to ask for more information.
If you can start parsing that out and figure out where folks need to look, you can hand it off.
Yeah.
We were also saying in one meeting that developing more expertise with the KDev site should be like a role for us.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know anything about it though. So we would need your help for that, Chris. If we want to define something there.
I'm sorry. What did you need help with again?
I
I was writing the thing and then you asked for another thing.
Sorry.
You're
That
fine.
issue mainly.
Yes.
But we were also saying that your expertise on the KDev site is something that is valuable and that we should maybe make into a role.
Yes. would
Which
say
I
that.
don't have. So we would need your
Yeah.
help to do that.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Let me add that to our roles
Mhm.
item in the table. Chris and KDev. Alrighty. See, this is the problem when you come to meetings, Chris. You
Oh, I know.
do
I get work.
things.
That's fine. I've been told I can do whatever I want upstream. So,
Well, that's good.
but there'll also be other things for me to do in other projects. So,
Of course, yeah.
yeah.
But we appreciate what you can give us. We
Mhm.
appreciate your presence.
Thank
Fun
you.
to have around. Alrighty. So we'll move on from KDev. Next item, Deba had a blog in need of review, which Avinash was going to try to go through, it looks like.
Yep. So yeah, I did the review from my end, and also the blog is being reviewed by SIG docs as well. So yeah, so the task is completed. They needed reviewers and they have reviewers now.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Avinash. As you have seen from the rest of our items in this meeting, it can be difficult to get blogs reviewed. So,
Shit.
much appreciated.
I have to do that after this meeting.
I know.
Hang on. Find something real quick.
Aside from that other conversation that we need to have after this meeting, which I've already
Right.
forgotten what it was about, but
It's
we'll figure it out.
about roles or something else.
This is why I write things down during this meeting.
Yeah.
Might have been about roles.
Y'all feel free to chime in at this point.
Wasn't it about changing the GitHub to
Oh
comms?
yeah, moving contributor comms.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm writing that down
slack
physically
you that
now.
now, Caslin.
Yes, good, good. I know where you wrote down all of the instructions. I've just been too intimidated and overwhelmed by other things to
I hear you.
actually do
It's-
it. You
It's
know?
a lot of commits to different repos. I get it.
Exactly. So I want to make sure that I have the time to mentally like absorb all of the things that I have to do, which we could do in a meeting.
Mhm.
And then Josh wanted us to schedule that so that he could help us do it. So I just have to process it.
Cool.
Just intimidating.
All right. Be right back.
We would love to help folks do like a development role for our group. The issue that we've always had with that is that none of our leadership of this group have much development like that we do normally, at least. Like we might have some experience with it. I have a little bit, but a lot of the work we do has not been development focused. Rajula is the most kind of dev focused of us, and he has been busy. So I think that would be the Rajula role, would be as close as we could get to a development role for this group right now. And maybe someday we'll do even better.
Sorry, we could just throw the role out there and see how many developers come.
That's true. We could
Like,
do it as a help
experience
wanted.
with JS would be great. Like Node, Go, any of that stuff would be awesome.
Yeah. It's true. We could try to attract someone to that role. I'll put a note in the roles section.
Yes.
Just to add one point on that, mainly I've tried exploring a lot of these things, being it validation thing and the Twitter and the KDev. The one problem that I faced a lot is it's very hard to explore the code base. Basically, the documentation are not that good that can get you explore the entire code base and how things are working. So maybe that's a problem, that we don't have a developer or something, maybe.
Yeah, like that's the
point.
leadership that's needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's hard to recruit those because they'll already be in the project and they'll already be overwhelmed. Takes time to develop that expertise. You're on the path to it, though.
That's for sure.
Good start. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Avinash. That's a good point. See if we can do something about it.
I made a note in Slack.
Yep, and I made a note in the notes.
So maybe I have a question as well. Yeah,
yes, please.
So it's regarding, so since I'm new here, I don't know much of the topics, so I can also be maybe of helpful here. So I have a dev background, maybe not in the exact framework, but I could also help on this. But I have to check what's expectation. So
yeah, we'd have to lay that out.
Yeah,
kind of.
yeah,
like,
it's not clear. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
if
I
it's
think
debugging and troubleshooting the Twitter bot, that seems like a crappy job, but that would be part of it at first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then hopefully we'll have buffer and we won't need the Twitter bot as much, but we'll still want to keep it around because it's a nice workflow for certain use cases.
But when it breaks, we go to Thingamajig.
And then the KDev stuff, understanding that website also is kind of some dev elements to that.
Yep. You go for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Which involves Go, which also involves JS.
And also just generally, if we had more developer expertise on the team, we could take on more projects that are more development-y.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing in particular comes to mind, but like in the past, we created the GitHub repo for the Twitter bot and also created a Slack bot. So there's programming things that come up every now and then.
Maybe I'll sync with Avinash and I'll check out what's inside, and maybe I'll get to know about it.
Your thoughts are important, Avinash. Sounds good. Yeah, happy to hear also if you all discuss it and come up with some ideas on what you would like to see for that. Love to hear it and see how we can help make that happen. All right, move on to the next item, which is, we discussed the SIG docs blog thing already, that they're trying to create a new process that has the markdown as like more of an official component before you do a PR. And so I don't think there's anything else on that. Is there, Avinash?
Not really. Maybe the only thing that they are now starting is they are reviewing it by the first review, or the entire review process is done in the HackMD file and not the PR. So I think that's the change.
Okay. Cool. So one thing that I was kind of thinking about earlier that feels good to mention is Frederico, I feel really bad that we haven't been able to review your blog post yet, but if the blog team is incorporating this HackMD process into their workflow, we discussed last time, should you also ping in blog docs, SIG docs blog subproject? And I think the answer is yes at this point.
Okay, yeah.
Last time we weren't quite sure, but I think at this point, yes.
Perfect, yeah, I'll go on.
Yeah, so go ahead and do that.
Yeah. Great.
Thanks. And apologies.
No worry about it. It's I'm not in a hurry. It's just it's good to know the processes and improve them. Yeah, it's perfect.
Your velocity, though, like I said, amazing, and I wish we could better enable it. All right, we'll move on to the next item then, which is tweet content on squashing commits if you have merge conflicts. Oh yeah, Rashid, you said that you had some experience with this and you're interested in doing it as like a contributor tip tweet. A follow-up to the similar idea from the other issue that we talked about earlier. Is Rashid here today? Maybe was earlier, but has already dropped off. Yeah, looks like he's not in at the moment, so we'll go ahead and pass on that for now. And then security comms guidelines. Oh, yes. So this was something I brought up last time. That was something I came up with as an idea for us to do like a long time ago and then never followed through on. And Avinash, you mentioned that you were interested in pursuing this further because you were already doing some work with the security SIG for last week in Kubernetes.
Okay, yeah. So actually, Imran contacted me. He reached out to me asking if he can take this task, and I said yes, but unfortunately, he couldn't make up in the meeting yesterday. So I represented him and asked about the guidelines, and folks there were really excited about the idea that they require a guideline for that, and I've shared the documentation for communication, and they said that yes, they'll have a look and do some things, and they might we might see some PRs coming in the docs with some guidelines for security. So
wonderful. To recap, this idea here was communications about security are very sensitive. And so we want to set up some guidelines on how we communicate about security stuff. So we wanted to work with the security SIG to kind of set those guidelines up and document them.
Yeah.
Progress.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thanks Avinash for doing this. Yesterday I couldn't make it, but he took the chance to ask in behalf of me.
We work together, fill in for each other when we can't do things. Awesome. And that's our last item. Making progress, expect to see PRs possibly soon. Wonderful.
30 seconds to spare. It's under the radar. That's amazing.
Yeah, perfect.
I have one item before we close out.
Yes, please.
Sorry.
I'm joking.
Yeah, I'll spare within a few seconds. But yeah, just since I'm newbie, so I was just wondering if there is any onboarding for this particular sub-project, because I have seen too many details in the table, but yeah, there is no tasks and expectations. I see the details, but somehow I miss the big piece, the why part, and how should I approach? Because this particular piece about the security guidelines, I asked Avinash async, and then he could get things, but I really don't know where should I approach, whom should I approach, and why this is needed. So this sort of questions So how do you generally do if a newcomer comes? Is there any onboarding, or is something, or should I just async with some people and then?
There hasn't been, though, in terms of getting to know our group and what our purpose is, you should check out our charter, which is right here. I put in the chat. It's also at the top of our notes doc if you find it again.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So that's the main document that we have in terms of why our group exists and a general concept of what we do. So part of this whole onboarding concept is creating these roles like we've been talking about. We're trying to define what the types of kind of areas people do work in are for our group. And once we have those defined, we can also set up shadowing so that people can work in a specific area and develop expertise, and then over time gather ownership of those areas as well. So that's kind of something we're kind of in the process of creating. So right now it's more of a general, here's our group, here's what we do in the charter. If we've had people ask in this meeting before for us to kind of explain it, so we can do that too. But it's just kind of free form at the moment. And we would like to fix that. So any feedback that you have, anything that you would like to see that you're not seeing, please let us know and we'll see what we can do to fix it.
Yeah, I'll go as I move through the rolling weeks. Maybe I'll learn and then maybe we could document or maybe we can improve it.
Yeah, sounds good. All righty. So we're a couple minutes over. I'll go ahead and stop our recording and thank you all for joining this week.
Yeah, thank you. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Cheers.